A crowd has gathered on a cloudy day in Paris to witness what is happening at the Canal St. Everybody else just cannot take their gaze away from the action in front of them. As the officials drained the river, they all were looking forward to seeing how the shallow waters fade. What had been lurking all along in the canal's waters? They found things about the canal that they had not foreseen after 2 centuries. What did they find down there exactly? But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. As the murky waters receded, the officials assessed them. It's not very often that the unanswered questions of the ocean's deepest part are unearthed. The canal is 4.5 kilometers in length. After Napoleon Bonaparte authorized the project, it was completed. This canal was built mainly to provide safe drinking water to the 550,000 people who live in Paris. Even so, he has been well aware that the population will almost probably start to increase in the near future. He also dared to hope that having safe drinking water would aid the city's health problem. There were countless cases of cholera and dysentery at the time. The Canal St. runs for nearly 3 miles through the city. At the time, it also delivered food and construction materials to Parisians all around the city. 2 canals were built for much the same motive in the following decades. The officials were building the Canal St. Denis and the Canal de l'Ourcq. The latter measured 3.4 meters in width and 108 kilometers in length. It ran from Port-au-Perches to the Bassin de la Villette, connecting the Canal Saint-Martin and the Bassin de la Villette. It's important to remember that all of them are hundreds of years old. The Canal Saint-Martin is the most well-known of the 3. From the Bassin de l'Arsenal to the Place de la Bastille, it ran deep in the ground. Numerous people are familiar with the latter as pivotal events during the French Revolution, which took place from 1789 to 1799. An unanticipated prison attack occurred here. It has a long and fruitful past, as you can see. For this specific purpose, people were interested to see what lay beneath the ground. Both for locals and tourists, the canal has now become a popular tourist destination. Young Parisians congregate quite often along the banks of the Seine and in neighboring cafes. Travelers, on the other hand, prefer to photograph well-known structures and bridges. So why did the authorities begin by draining the water? The canal has undergone many changes in its 2 centuries of creation. Every 10 to 15 years, officials tried to empty it. Everything that had built up at the bottom was going to be cleared out. It was not, that being said, a regular cleanup. So what is it about this period of time that was so distinctive? The canal had been drained for the first time in 2001. They had been able to eliminate over 40 tons of waste from the water at the time. Bullets, bombshells, as well as gold dimes from World War I were among the fascinating finds. Furthermore, they discovered a car from the same era. It's been a long time since that happened. What else could they come across in the water? The massive challenge of draining the canal got underway. It would take 3 months to remove approximately 3 million cubic feet of water. Even though the city had to splurge more than $10 million, 0 cents on it, it was required. What had been concealed in the canal for so long piqued the audience's interest. On January 7, they emptied the canal's excess water. The secrets of the waterway were finally revealed after 15 years. People from all walks of life flocked to the bridges. They wanted to investigate what the officials had found out. Everyone was dying of curiosity. It had to be a huge occasion. And besides, it's not very often that the Canal St. is completely dry. When people saw what was going on, they couldn't believe their eyes. The canal's bottom was strange to see. They were all interested in learning more about what was beneath the canal's surface. The workers were given the task of emptying the canal to a depth of 50 centimeters. They waded through the canal, looking for objects and living things that had made themselves at home there. The working crew caught around 5 tons of carp, trout. The fish were then relocated to more suitable breeding ground. They carefully weighed and identified the fish before relocating it. Even if the new location wasn't ideal, it was still preferable to the alternative. Several everyday objects found their way into the water's depths. Bicycles, among other things, were present. They were later discovered to be part of the city's Velib car-sharing system. In 2007, the program added about 14,500 bicycles to the city's streets. Regrettably, they were thrust into unusual circumstances. More items started to emerge as the drains process progressed. At the canal's bottom, there were mopeds, bicycles, and wheelie bins. There was a toilet down there as well. Of course, they didn't find only alive creatures as well as bizarre objects down there. It was anticipated that some items would be found. Shopping bags, traffic cones, and glass bottles are all examples. These findings seemed to pique no one's interest. Everyone was ecstatic to discuss the unusual items. Workers continued to drain the water from the Canal St. Martin until there were only 20 inches left. They needed to get the fish to safety first and foremost. For 3 days in the water, the cleanup crew fished for carp, trout, and bream. The creatures were apprehended and relocated to a different section of the river. Even after how saddening it was to see so much waste in the canal, there is reason to be hopeful. The findings shed light on the city's littering problem. Authorities took advantage of the opportunity to discuss the situation. Nobody would have discovered how serious the situation was if the waterway would not have been drained. In fact, the canal area is considered prime real estate. The Parisians paid a high price for it. Only real estate near the arrondissement commands prices of up to $9,000 per square foot. They had no idea these things were so close to their homes, we're sure. All 3 canals were dug across the length of Paris over the course of 2 decades. They add up to more than 80 miles when combined. The most well-known of the 3 is the Canal St. It connects the Seine River and the Canal de l'Ourcq over a distance of 68 miles. Since its inception, the Canal St. has attracted both Parisians and tourists. It has always possessed a certain allure. They've all looked over the badges. They'd be able to pass through all of the locks and road bridges along the way as well. If you've ever visited Paris, you're probably aware of the vibrant nightlife scene in the Canal St. area. The neighborhood, which was once quiet, would now attract a lot of young people. Many people would assume that this would immediately add to the amount of waste in the canal. They discovered if this was the case in 2016. The canal's construction was ordered to begin in 1802 by Napoleon I, the French emperor. Paris had a population of around 550,000 people at the time. That figure did not appear to be decreasing anytime soon. Napoleon believed that the waterway would bring fresh water to the city and improve the citizens' health. The canal runs from the Bassin de l'Arsenal on the Seine to just below the Bastille. The latter housed a prison that was burned down during the French Revolution. It then emerges near Place de la République before climbing up to the Bassin de la Villette in the north. At this point, it joins the Canal de l'Arsenal. What in particular sparked your attention? Just in case you forgot, chairs, shopping carts, suitcases, trash cans, toilets, bicycles, and motorcycles were discovered at the bottom. There was also a vintage stereo on the floor in addition to the previously mentioned items. You never know what you'll find when you go there. They discovered a large number of cans and bottles while draining the water from the Canal St. Do you have any idea how many people there were? We have our doubts that you correctly answered the question. They found hundreds of thousands of these things down there after all. The 3-mile-long Canal St. runs through the 10th arrondissement of Paris, a trendy district known for its nightlife and attractions. It's become a must-visit area for both locals and tourists. The canal is drained and cleaned roughly every 10 to 15 years, revealing a bizarre collection of discarded and forgotten items. Crowds gather each time to witness the spectacle. Among the unearthed debris was a surprisingly intact old-school stereo. No one can say for sure how long it had been resting beneath the murky waters or how it ended up there. People toss or drop things into the canal all the time, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. Locals watched with curiosity as workers uncovered more items from the sludge. Some were probably hoping to see something sentimental or valuable resurface. Others may have just been enjoying the outdoor activity. The event has become somewhat of a cultural phenomenon, a rare but public reminder of the city's layers of history. Despite being a recurring event, each cleaning brings surprises. During this cycle, a vintage camera and even a plush toy, almost pristine, stood out from the otherwise filthy hall. Its clean appearance next to a rusted motorcycle made for a striking and eerie image. Certain items sparked the imagination. A moss-covered chair, for instance, led many to wonder about the story behind its fate. Was it thrown in during a heated moment? Was it part of an accident? These mysterious findings give the canal an almost haunting aura. The draining process is massive. 90,000 cubic meters of water must be carefully channeled into the St. Workers are tasked with relocating trapped fish, inspecting and repairing the canal's 4 double locks, and replacing any worn components. The process typically spans 3 months and involves hundreds of personnel. Though much of the work is assisted by machinery, many tasks require human precision and care. Safety is paramount, as mistakes in such a large-scale project can lead to significant setbacks or hazards. The canal was last drained in 2001, making each occurrence a rare and anticipated event. Preparations are extensive, involving the acquisition of specialized equipment and personnel. Other countries conduct similar cleanings, often yielding equally bizarre findings. For instance, in the United Kingdom, drain workers have retrieved unexpected objects, including live animals. Everything from dogs and cats to livestock has been pulled out alive. While stories of sewer alligators in the U.S. remain largely urban legends, animal rescues from drains are not uncommon. Sewers, meant for waste, sometimes yield treasures. In Japan, a treatment facility once recovered 5 million yen worth of gold from sludge thanks to local industry byproducts. Likewise, in England, a drain technician named Aaron Large found 4 luxury watches, including a genuine £21,000 sterling, 0 pence gold Rolex. While some were fake, one was returned to its owner, and Aaron was rewarded for his find.